Welcome to Story Recap. Today we're going to recap an action-adventure movie. The movie opens with a picturesque rural village surrounded by lush greenery and dense forests. Malli, a young tribal girl with a radiant smile, is seen singing a melodious folk song and applying mehendi to the hand of the governor's wife. Her voice is pure and enchanting, capturing the essence of her innocence and talent. Her mother, a strong and loving woman, watches with pride and joy. The peaceful scene takes a dark turn as the British soldiers along with Governor Scott approach Malli and her village after a successful hunt. Governess is drawn to Malli's singing and, in a condescending tone, expresses her desire to take the girl to Delhi as a gift for her amusement. Governor Scott instructs Edward to buy her, following which Edward throws some coins on the ground, which the villagers and mother misunderstand as a gift for her singing. But once they realize it's for buying Malli, the villagers plead and protest, but their cries fall on deaf ears. Malli is dragged away from her mother's arms, her cries echoing through the village. Then Malli's mother tries to stop the moving vehicle by sitting in front of it and stops the Brits to take away her daughter. When a soldier tries to shoot the mother, the governor stops him, and for a brief second it feels like he might not be that cruel. Then immediately he lectures the soldier about how the value of that single bullet is more than the lives of the villagers, and then instructs the soldier to use other ways to get rid of her, showcasing the barbarity of the governor. Then the soldier uses a tree trunk to bash the mother, and she falls to the ground. The British carriage departs, leaving behind a trail of dust and despair. We see Malli staring at her collapsed mother with traumatic shock and despair, with those coins slipping from her hand. Raju is introduced in the bustling environment of a British police camp, showcasing his disciplined and unwavering character. Raju stands out, both in appearance and demeanor, exuding a sense of purpose and determination. His uniform is impeccably maintained, and his posture is straight, reflecting his commitment to his role, and his mustache exquisite. The scene transitions to a volatile protest in the streets, with a large crowd of Indian citizens passionately demonstrating against the oppressive British rule. They chant slogans to release a famous Indian freedom fighter and start throwing stones, one of which hits the photo of King George, and immediately the station chief shouts an order to arrest that guy. Raju takes it upon himself to carry on the duty. He takes a big leap and jumps into the crowd all alone with just a baton in his hand as his colleagues watch in shock and awe of him. His superiors, including British officers, watch him closely, skeptical of his ability to handle the situation. He charges into the crowd, displaying remarkable agility and strength. He dodges projectiles, disarms protesters, and uses his baton with precision to subdue key instigators. His movements are swift and calculated, showcasing his exceptional combat skills and strategic mind. The crowd, witnessing Raju's prowess, begins to waver. After a long battle with the protesters, injured and limping, Raju still manages to grab the protest and arrest him, leaving the protesters outside and the police inside full of surprise. Then slowly Raju walks back, throws some water on his face, and stands back at his post with unwavering determination, which makes the protesters disperse, leaving behind a trail of scattered debris and subdued tension. During the promotion ceremony of the British officers, we see Raju full of anticipation, expecting one for himself. But when his name is not announced, he goes back and starts punching the boxing bag really hard with disappointment. Next, we are introduced to the chief advisor of the Nizams, trying to warn Edward about the dangers of the tribals whose kid governor and his wife just took from. But Edward ridicules the advisor, saying, "What the hell are these tribals gonna do? Shoot down the mighty British Empire with their bows and arrows?" and laughs it off. Then the advisor warns Edward of the true nature of the protector of the tribe, how he would go to any lengths for that one lamb that went missing and bring it back to its family. Even if he finds it in the jaws of a tiger, he would eliminate the tiger to bring the lamb back to its mother. We notice Edward's smirk slowly wiping off. Comrade Bheem is introduced in a dense forest, symbolizing his deep connection with nature and his roots in the tribal community. His muscular build and determined expression reflect his strength and resolve. Bheem pours some blood on his head and body, marking himself as a live bait in order to catch a wolf. As the wolf approaches, Bheem starts running towards the trap which they have already set to capture the wolf. Halfway through the chase of Bheem by the wolf, Bheem notices a huge paw print on the mud in front of him, and soon enough, a massive Bengal tiger takes a huge leap towards Bheem to attack him. But due to quick thinking of Bheem, he narrowly avoids the tiger, which causes the tiger to crash into the wolf which was right behind Bheem. This startles Bheem, but he manages to recover his focus and start running towards the trap. His friends on top of the trees shout, "It's not a wolf, but a tiger." Even though Bheem successfully captures the tiger in the trap, it does not seem to hold the tiger as it was prepared for a wolf, which is much smaller in size. Bheem notices the ropes of the trap are about to come off and jumps on it to catch it. Right now it's Bheem versus Tiger, face to face. Bheem uses all his strength to hold the tiger and connect the ropes back. We can see all his muscles bulged and pumped and shivering as he squeezes every ounce of energy into pulling those ropes together, only for them to break at the last second. Then Bheem jumps into the air and captures the herbs thrown by his friends and hits the tiger on the nose. He holds the tiger with his bare hands as the tiger scratches his back before it slowly faints. Bheem apologizes to the fainted tiger for using him, as they are tending to his wounds. Bheem questions his uncle about Malli's whereabouts, and whether she would be alive or not, in a dejected tone. Then Bheem puts on a disguise as Akhtar, and walks into Delhi to work as a mechanic. From here on, Bheem would be referred to as Akhtar. Here we see Akhtar being treated unfairly by a British soldier full of ego. Akhtar doesn't say a single word, so as not to raise any suspicions and reveal his true identity. Akhtar gets to know might be holding Malli in the governor's palace. His friends tries to sneak in as daily workers, only to be thrashed by the guards. Niece of the governor stops the guards, which raises hopes in Akhtar seeing from afar, and plots to use her kindness in getting entry into the palace. Edward finally takes the threat of the tribals seriously and puts it in front of the police. The officials gathered mocks how they would skin the tribal and ask for a photo or identity of the tribal, which they don't have. Then Governess offers promotion of special officer to anyone who captures the tribal. This makes Raju to come forward. The chief who watched the spectacle earlier vouches for Raju. Next, we see a gathering of the revolutionaries trying to discuss the Indian freedom struggle. Raju, disguised as a commoner, enters to catch the tribal and suggests loudly, "Why don't they kill the governor?" The leaders, in a mocking sense, shoot back. "Why don't they kill King George himself?" Everyone laughs, but one guy from Bheem's group approaches Raju and asks if it is possible to kill the governor. Raju looks at the guy and assures him it is possible, and takes him back to interrogate, only to get stopped at a checkpost where the guard on duty, recognizing Raju, salutes to him. Recognizing that Raju is a police officer, the guy starts running and escapes into the crowd. Disappointed, Raju is now seen standing on top of a bridge, one end of the railway bridge. We see Akhtar giving a paisa to a kid when he says he will catch fresh fish for him. As the train approaches a bridge over a wide river, we see a large oil tanker parked precariously, a leaking valve dripping oil onto the tracks. The kid who went fishing is right under the bridge, and a brake by the train driver causes sparks on the track, which immediately engulfs the large oil tanker, and a heavy explosion occurs, throwing the still engulfed tankers into the river, beneath which causes the kid to expel from his tiny boat into the water. Everyone starts watching this, but Akhtar, who came to Delhi to save one kid, can't let another kid engulf in flames in front of him. He keeps asking for help to no avail. Raju notices this really far from the top of the bridge. He signals towards Akhtar in sign language to come on top of the bridge. Akhtar immediately grabs a motorcycle and races to the top of the bridge. Raju is now face to face with Akhtar without realizing that he is the one Raju is looking for. Conveys a plan to Akhtar. Immediately Raju on a horse and Akhtar on a bike ties the rope to them and plunges into the river beneath with such a speed that projectile swings them from beneath towards each other as they are closing in. Raju wets the flag he captured earlier, and Akhtar grabs onto the kid in the water, surrounded by fire, as the flames start to get more. Sever Raju and Akhtar exchange flag, and the kid mid-air. Raju proceeds to throw the kid onto a sandbank, while Akhtar covers himself with the wet flag to protect himself as he swings back into the flames. During the next swing, when they approach closer, they grab onto each other's hands, stopping them in the mid-air, where they exchange pleasantries for the first time. Then we see a montage of their friendship blossoming, while both of them are still working towards their own cause without the other person knowing. We see many incidents of them hanging out and having fun. At one instance, Akhtar asks about the love of Raju's life, to which Raju explains her name as Sita. After the montage, as both Raju and Akhtar are strolling around the streets of Delhi on a motorcycle, Akhtar notices the governor's niece again, traveling in her own car. Only thing in Akhtar's head right now is how to talk to her and make her help him without knowing the language. Raju misunderstands this and assumes that Akhtar has the hots for that girl and tries to play Cupid by throwing some nails on the road, and stops his bike a bit further ahead, predicting where the lady would stop the car due to the puncture caused by the nails thrown by Raju. Then Raju asks Akhtar to help her, for which Akhtar replies to Raju, "Yes, I will repair your car in 5 minutes." Raju gives a hopeless look to Akhtar and mistranslates the whole thing as it takes 5 hours and he can give you a ride wherever you want to go. We see some comedy lost in translation here. Her name is revealed to Jenny. Eventually, they go Akhtar's bike to a market where it is revealed to Akhtar that Jenny is there to buy clothes for. Malli, which gives immense hope to Akhtar, and he makes a bangle right there, infusing it with some tribal symbols only Malli could recognize. A thankful Jenny invites Akhtar to a Valentine's Day dance. A hungry Akhtar goes to Raju's place and tells him about the invitation while eating. Raju accompanies Akhtar to the dance where Akhtar was bullied and humiliated for not knowing dances like salsa, flamenco, etc. That's when Raju comes to the rescue of his friend and have a majestic dance battle, making Raju and Akhtar only the last people standing. Akhtar's slow turn towards Raju to become the last man standing ignites the competitive spirit in Raju as they both seem to dance their hearts off. This also foreshadows that they are not afraid of going against each other later. Raju loses the dance battle intentionally in order to make him look good in front of Jenny. When Jenny asks Akhtar for a coffee, Raju notices the back of her car's paint, which he noticed on the fingers of the guy that approached Raju in the revolutionary meet. Immediately, Raju charges to the paint shop and finds the guy and arrests him. Next, we see a scared Akhtar entering the palace as Jenny's guest. As she goes to bring the coffee, he sneaks around and finds Malli being imprisoned there, only allowed out when she needs to sing. A heartfelt moment between the duo ensues, where he has to leave Malli again in order to come back and rescue her. Now we see Raju torturing the guy to reveal the identity of their leader, for which the guy refuses and even passes some insults through the pain. During the night, he hears a snake hissing and captures it while he himself is in a captured state. When Raju approaches for another round of torture, he flings that snake onto Raju, which bites him on the hand, and the guy proclaims, "Even the English don't have the antidote for this venom." In a surprising way, Raju lets the guy go and asks him to go and live, which makes it confusing about how to feel about the motives of Raju. After returning from the palace, Akhtar decides it is now time to go rescue Malli. He plans with his friends to disperse and notices Raju fainting due to snakebite. Luckily for Raju, Akhtar's tribe knows the antidote for the venom. He extracts some herbal juice and makes him drink it. At the same time, Akhtar removes his tribal thread from under his shirt and puts it on Raju in a hope of safeguarding him. That's when Raju realizes seeing the same thread on the guy who Raju tortured. Now Akhtar comes clean to Raju as Raju is in a bed, not able to move how he is the son of the gods, Bheem. From now on, we refer to him as Bheem again. The conflict has caused immense stress to Raju, and he starts punching the wall, which slowly cuts away to flashes of him giving a promise. But nothing in detail. Raju decides he has to stop Akhtar to reach his motive, which has not yet been revealed at this point. As there is a huge party being thrown near the palace to welcome the Governor Scott, Bheem and his allies are seen preparing for an attack with a truck. Once the front gate opens, the guy signals it's time. Then the driver accelerates the truck so it could breach the entrance before the second gate is still open and the first gate could close. A thundering all-in frontal attack with the help of the truck is carried out. Once the truck is inside, the soldiers stationed at the palace start shooting the truck. The driver drifts the truck as if it is in the GTA, only to reveal Bheem jumping off the side of the truck accompanied by all the animals he captured in the forest to disrupt the party. The guests and soldiers were in shock. Everything and everyone is scattered due to the unexpected wild animal attack. Malli sees Bheem and tries to run towards him, only to get grabbed by a soldier and lock the interior palace doors and hide keys in his armband. This infuriates Bheem. He unleashes a barrage of hits on that soldier, following which he impales the soldier's hand on a huge moose running towards him. After a gruesome encounter, Bheem finally manages to get hold of the key. As he tries to enter the palace, he suddenly notices a huge flaming chariot racing towards him with the silhouette of a known figure. Broken wheels of that chariot hurls towards Bheem and throws him to the ground. This is the first time Bheem sees Raju in the police uniform, which confuses him. He keeps trying to convince Raju to let him take Malli back to his village. Bheem pleads with Raju to no avail. During this confrontation, the key to the palace door falls in a crate, which makes Bheem burn with rage. The attack of the titans against each other begins, and we see various kinds of skillful attacks from Raju and the sheer brute force of Bheem attacking each other. At some point, while Raju is distracted by a tiger, Bheem uses his parkour skills to scale the walls and reach the palace from the roof. Raju catches up to Bheem, and another round of fight ensues, during which Raju will have a chance to eliminate Bheem, but chooses against it. But Bheem won't hesitate this time. He plunges the tiger claw dagger into the body of Raju, but a rival of Governor and pointing his gun at Malli makes it harder for Bheem to continue. Bheem gives up while landing punches on Raju as Raju pulls Bheem up. Next we see Raju as a special police officer becomes in charge of an armory. He looks at all the weapons with mixed feelings of success as well as failure. Raju writes a letter to Sita about how he is closer to getting weapons and how he is hurting the people whose freedom he is fighting for. This is the first time we realize the bigger motive toward which Raju is fighting for. Flashback ensues where we see the same governor giving the same expensive bullet speech, which infuriates the father of Raju, who used to be a British soldier. He then forms a revolutionary group to fight against the British. During one of those practice sessions, a British battalion attacks the village of Raju and eliminates his family and the village. A standoff between Raju's father and the British soldiers erupts where he gets seriously injured, during which he takes a promise from Raju, a young kid, to give weapons to every Indian so they could fight the British and make them run away to their country. Governor Scott is planning on how to punish Bheem and decides on a public lashing, which is supposed to instill fear, tend to have the opposite effect and makes the burn with rage, seeing the injustice. All the while, Bheem is being punished with a spiked whip, which makes him bleed, but he never bends the knee, which angers the governess even more. Raju makes sure to keep going while wiping off his tears and punishing Bheem at the same time. Once Bheem falls to the ground after singing a patriotic song to instill anger and fighting spirit, all of the viewers start attacking the British, which gives Raju a reality check and pushes his thoughts to start fighting from a different angle. Later in the night, when Raju is analyzing the situation, his uncle comes to him, informing about the new consignment of weapons being sent to his armory, which he can steal for a fight against the British, but quickly realizes before that they are going to execute Bheem and vows to save Bheem at the cost of sacrificing his own fight of 20 years. He makes a plan and removes the firing pin of all the guns that are going to be used by the guards at the Bheem's execution, quietly takes Malli to the execution ground after shaking the hand of the governor. Governor smells gunpowder on his hand and expects something to go wrong. On the way to the ground, a big fight ensues, and Raju manages to fight and defeat most of them. Guards trying to fire at him realize their guns are jammed and not working. Successfully, Raju helps Bheem to escape, but Bheem doesn't realize it yet. Bheem grabs Malli and runs away as Raju holds the remaining guards down. Next, we see the soldiers rummaging the streets of Delhi to find the escaped Bheem and Malli to punish them. Bheem unites with his remaining gang and hides in a community place where different travelers were staying, right when they are close to discovering the place hidden by Bheem. A woman traveler comes to the police and asks for their help as she has smallpox. Considering this was during the peak period of Spanish flu, police get scared and runs away from there after injuring the lady. She is none other than Sita, the fiancée of Raju. Bheem thanks her for saving them and asks her about where she is from. That's when he realizes is the Sita of Raju. She tells Bheem how Raju is a spy and trying to infiltrate the British to get the weapons in order to fight for the country. Another flashback shows Raju's father approaches the British soldiers covered in explosives and Raju shoots him to eliminate all the soldiers. This reveals the level of dedication Raju has to achieve his goal. Bheem understands the real purpose of Raju and feels guilty for not helping him sooner. He promises Sita that he will go and free Raju from the prison and return. Raju in the prison keeps doing pull-ups in the prison cell as the governor watches. Governor orders the guards to hurt his knees and throw him the hole, but that doesn't deter him from keeping a positive attitude. With the help of the maps of the prison provided by Jenny, Bheem sneaks into the prison compound. He successfully locates Raju and couldn't contain his tears. When inquired about why he is here, Bheem says he talked to Sita. So he knows the motive of Raju. He promises to take Raju back to Sita. Bheem breaks the door with brute force, which alerts the guards. Bheem makes Raju sit on his shoulders as Raju's knees were injured earlier. Then ensues a fight between the soldiers and Transformer-esque looking Raju and Bheem. We can see some of the crazy and interesting sequences between them, and the coordination between them as Raju blasts of the soldiers with his upper body strength alone, while Bheem carries Raju. After taking down most of the guards, the duo managed to escape from the prison compound and escape into the forest. Edward informs the governor about the escape of Bheem and Raju into the forest, which infuriates him. Governor orders Edward to take the special forces into the forest to capture or eliminate both the rebels now. Bheem carries Raju to a nearby temple in the forest where there is a statue of Lord Rama and nurses his wounds with some super special herbs with healing powers on the knees of Raju and covers him with a saffron cloth. Then Bheem goes to fetch some water for Raju. At the same time, the special forces can be seen camouflaged and trying to sneakily fire at Bheem. Out of the blue, an arrow comes from the depths of darkness, cuts the stream of water. Bheem is drinking and pierces the special forces, soldier behind Bheem. Firing starts from all over the place, which alerts Bheem, and he hides in the nearby pond. After firing for some time in all directions, still clueless about the direction the arrows are coming from, Edward orders a hold fire and turns on floodlights. Here we see Raju as the silhouette, which resembles Lord Rama, as if Raju is possessed by Lord Rama. Arrows will be flying and taking down soldiers all around. Bheem soon joins the battle with Raju, and both of them keep using innovative and brute techniques to take down the enemies without a break. This finally marks the end of Edwards after the fight, and the rebel duo decides to go for the palace of the governor to take down the mammoth itself. They get a horse and a bike, just like the montage from the beginning of the movie, and starts moving towards the palace while Governor is raining them with cannon fires. Both of them have reached a peak performative state. Then they manage to put the bike on fire and make it crash into the weapon stash within the palace, which burns, explodes, and burns the palace to the ground. The governess, who was excited to use spiked whiplash on Bheem, ended up having succumbed to the similar throne-filled ending, making Governor sad. In a final attempt of taking the rebels down, Governor picks up the gun, only to be pierced by the arrow from Raju's bow. Right then, Bheem enters with the stash of weapons hidden in the palace. Remembering his father's words to give weapons to every individual in the country, Raju hands over the first weapon to Bheem. Raju makes Bheem shoot down the governor with his blood spilling on the words, "The sun never sets on the British Empire." A poetic end. Bheem hands over Raju to Sita and takes Malli to his village, where we can see Malli reunited with her mom. Now everyone breaks into a dance as the credits roll. Just a fun fact. Raju, whose life is based on a real-life freedom fighter, Alluri Sita Rama Raju, used to loot the British armories and sign his name in the logbooks to let them know it was him. Thanks for tuning into Story Recap. If you enjoyed our journey through the movie's twists and turns, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more recaps. Don't forget to ring the bell icon to stay updated on our latest uploads. Have a movie you want us to cover? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. Until next time, keep watching.